Hello and welcome to Don't You Know I'm Loco podcast. We are three cousins looking to break
Leave it. That looks
generational curses by sharing our mental health and healing journeys. Join me, Candy, along with Lisa, Renee, as we talk about
the things we're not supposed to talk about. That was Grandma's ghost from 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave it.
I already know.
She's like, oh, hell no. It's gone by really fast.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're going to run out of things
to talk about. Tell me what happened.
No, yeah.
Send us your suggestions, okay? Send us your suggestions in the comments. Today we're going to be talking about body shaming. But first, what's something that you guys did for self-care for this week? You want to go?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I did premeditative care yesterday.
Okay.
It was my cousin's 50th birthday party, so we went to California and came back today. But
50th?
Yeah. Better. Yeah, I know. A cousin, 50.
Oh my god.
Happy birthday, Belle.
And I knew there was going to be a lot of drinking there, and like my pre-plan was like, don't drink, and they ask you, don't do it, and just be mentally prepared for it, and no one asks.
Oh, great.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think everybody knows, so that helps, and like everybody kind of knows that I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
And
No pressure or anything. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, no pressure at all. It was everywhere.
Nice.
My dad.
With his cooler.
He didn't need a cooler for that party, but
Yeah.
we were there, and I was like, why are you so talkative already? I'm like, what the hell, did you drink already? Because I was like, we was in big beer 3 or 4 there. And I was like, you had 2 at the party, at the house. And I was like, no. And then later on, he said, I had 2 before we came. I was like, oh, I see it drive this time. But that's for another episode.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Me, I picked up books again, and I'm actually reading them. So that's another thing is that I kind of slacked off again on that. And then my new routine, again, waking up early. Like, I just have so much more energy and so much want to do more stuff. Like, I did so many things before, like, it was time to go to work that I was like, who are you? What did you do with me? You know, so I'm like, okay, this could work for us. Like, I got in a new medication, and it's like, okay, it's working in conjunction with my other medication, and it's just like, okay, this is what works for you. Like, wow, you know, because it was like I was struggling to do stuff after work, like to, you know, all I want to do is sit on the couch. And now, because I get the things done in the morning, I can just chill on the couch, you know, like chill with the dogs and just relax. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I guess I'm a morning person now. Who would have known? Who would have thought?
The dogs will also make you a morning person because they get used to that time waking up.
Like,
if you don't wake up early, you're like,
oh yeah, she's like in my ear, like breathing in my ear. I'm like, girl, okay, let's get yeah. They're holding me accountable. Get your ass up. Let's go.
Oh, I love that. I love how you can like find your good, you know, like with medication, because sometimes it takes like years before your medication can like learn to talk to each other, to learn to work with you, you know. So sometimes you're gonna have your trials, you're you know, like you fail, you're gonna like things are gonna suck, they're gonna feel gross, they're not gonna like just not gonna feel right, you know, like so. But the fact that you're able to like
I can tell the difference.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay,
you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's nice. It feels nice. It's been like 2 weeks that I've been like on this new routine, and I'm like, what? Now I get why people wake up early and do these things. Yep. Yep. What did you do for self-care?
Ooh, you know what? I had taken my daughter to the mall. For her birthday, she wanted to do this like little go to fashion show and like you know go with her friends and stuff. And I was like I got a drink, whatever I wanted, like my different coffees and just different, you know, walked around, looked at everything, and like it was nice to just be by myself and be like, oh, I'm gonna go in here, and like, oh, I don't want to go in there, you know, like I could just decide what I want to do, you know, because usually like when I'm with her, it's like we want to hurry up and get in and get out, right? And it's like, because I love to spend money.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I was kind of a little bit like anxious to go. Like even like in the parking lot, I was like, okay, Lise, like you really got to think like you just did this and that. Like you have this coming up, like, you know, financially, like thinking of like all my bills and stuff. So like, yes, you're going into like a place what makes you happy, you know, but you can't spend money. Or you can't, like, you know, like give myself a budget or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I did allow myself to have like a coffee and like little things that I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that, you know, because I know I'm not gonna go and like, you know, have a shopping spree at, you know, at Lids or whatever, you know. So I was like, it was. Oh, and they had the Dodgers store.
Oh yeah.
So cute. I love it. And then I'm always there talking with like the people for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I gotta go, you know.
Yeah.
But I did that, and then, you know how they do the massages, like the like little stands or whatever. It's like 10 minutes for $20 or whatever how it is, right? And I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna do that. Like, I'm just gonna do it, right? Because I always like look and I always like I want someone to like really like dig into my back, right? And so I was like, do I really want to pay it? Like, no, you know. And I was like, you know what? Screw it, whatever. I'm gonna do it. It was like the best like 20 minutes that I've had. Like, yes, they like took me, but she was like, you really needed that. She's like, you carry so much. Like, it was hard. She's like, I'm sweaty. Right? Because she was all up in there. And I was like, yeah, like I really needed it. Like, dang.
Didn't you say you have a gift certificate for a massage?
I do.
Girl,
I do.
get a deep tissue. Tell them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to
That's
do that.
the best thing. Like that's like the best thing I could have done for myself. Like that's something that we do. Like we pay for a subscription, and it helps so much because we carry so much stress and tension in our bodies, and it's like
it needs a release.
Yeah.
Where's it gonna go?
Exactly. Like I have knots, and they're like, girl, I'm like, I know. Even when I go to the chiropractor, I'm like, my neck is stiff, and he's like, you aren't lying, like that. Yeah, he like had to do like 3 different things, and I'm like, yeah, yeah. But doing something for yourself like that, like it helps a lot. You feel so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good for you.
So,
See, it gave you a taste. Like, okay, now you can go.
Yeah,
get the
now I could go
get the real one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Good for you. I'm proud of us. Taking care of you.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll take care of yourself, but nobody else will.
Yeah, exactly. How you going, Lo? All right, so let's get into body shaming.
Or I like to call it the Hector episode.
I wonder why. I wonder where that came from.
So, why I want to call it the Hector episode is because my dad is like the biggest giver of nicknames ever, and for me personally, it was Pancitas. He would call me Pancitas. Oh, yeah.
Really? I've never heard that.
I never heard that one.
That's when we were home alone, like when we were young. I was younger. Yeah, he called me Pancitas.
Oh my god.
And he gave Lisa a nickname. I don't know if you want to say your nickname.
No, you know, it's me. It's Chonchies. Like, because I was chubby. Like, I was a chubby kid, and I always thought I was chubby. Like, I'm chubby. I'm Chonchies, you know? Like,
the Chonch.
Chonch.
And her brother Manny was Gordo.
Gordo, yeah. Oh my God. Uh-huh.
My mom.
Yeah.
Pinguina.
She was so little and cute and stuff. And,
she hates it.
Yeah.
She's like, no soy animal.
I was like, I want to be a penguin. I want to be George, you know? And yeah, how funny.
Except for my sister. My sister has a good one. Lucy, like from Peanuts. I'm like, how did she get that?
Yeah, like it was, and you know what's funny? Like, I'm not at all like saying anything about your dad because your dad could never do no wrong because he's my Nino and I love him so much. So, but I don't know. It didn't start with him because body shaming just started like from the time you were born, the time you can eat food, you know, and even that food was like wrong.
And they made it for us.
That's right. So yeah, it's it's been in us. So, but it didn't help with having the
nicknames.
Name, you know, like
Bam,
that's it for the rest of your life, you know. Until this day, I'm like, oh, Chonchi's here. I'm like, hey guys.
I don't call you Chonchi, I call you Bori.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know,
it's interesting what you said about they're the ones feeding us. I think a lot of us were conditioned to eat everything on our plate, and then our plates were always full. And as adults, we don't know about portion control because that's the way we were raised. So it's like we have to, like, when I feel like I always talk about my husband, but it is what it is. When we first started dating, and I would like make dinner, and then I would serve the plates. I would serve like a big plate and full, and he was like, why are you serving me so much? Like, I don't eat that much. And I'm like, what do you mean? This is how people eat.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
And like that's something like recently that I had to learn. Like, I don't have to eat the whole thing. I don't need to fill up the whole plate. I can eat like up until where I start to feel full, because when I'm over full, then it doesn't feel good. Like, so I'm like, okay, like cut it back. We don't need the big old plates. You can eat the little plates. Like, just because we were taught that way.
Actually, like with us, me and my sister, my mom fed us little plates, like, and we got used to it, right?
Really?
So when I like started dating, whenever the girl like exes would eat more than me, and they're like, "Why don't you eat like a man?" What do you mean?
Yeah.
But it was because I was so used to the small portions that's what I would eat, and I would get full. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
Did you have the two rule? The two, you could only do two. So my mom was always like, you can only have 2 tacos, you can only have 2 slices of pizza. It was just
that sounds
2,
so
right?
familiar. Yes.
Because she didn't want us to get big, right? So it was like, with me and my siblings, it was always like, no, you can't eat too much because then you're going to get big. Like, right? So it was such a bad thing to be, you know, to be anything else but thin, right? And that's always stayed in my head. Every single day of my life do I think about that.
Oh, same here.
You know, like, and it's like, it's ingrained, you know, like that's how you think about. It sucks so bad.
It does.
And, you know, like, yeah.
And they still haven't changed. They still have not changed. My dad's constantly like, when are you going to go to the gym? Are you going to go to the gym today? Are you going to work out today? I'm like,
everything's about that.
I don't want to work out. I don't want to work out. Like, the other day I kind of got into it with him because he was like, are you going to the gym today? I was like, Dad, I already told you I'm going to go to the gym when I want to go to the gym. Like, don't ask me. I guess it was more about, like, he didn't want to leave Kobe alone. But I feel like that's how he feels. Like, you have to go to the gym and work out. I was like, what if I don't want to go today? Like, what if I, like, my body hurts or... Yeah, so it's still very much like that.
I remember one time my dad, we were at a restaurant. It was like a breakfast place or whatever. We used to love going to breakfast on the weekends because that's when we used to talk, right? And then we would catch up, and it was just, it was my favorite time. But there was this one time where I was gaining a little weight, and my dad's like, hey, you should start running again, right? And I was like, yeah, like, because that was my thing before, was like, I used to run with my dad. Like, we had this thing where, you know, we used to run, but it was like, so I don't get big, right? And it was like him and my mom, like, obviously they never did it on purpose. They didn't know what they were doing, right? It was just like, that's what they thought was going to help me, right? Don't get big because nobody's going to want you, right? That's what my dad said.
Oh my God.
At that restaurant was like, don't get big because no man's going to want you. Like, you can't get big, Lisa. And I was like, okay, I won't get big, right? And like, that, like, and that stayed with me.
How old are you?
I was older. I was maybe 17?
Oh,
18,
wow.
16, 17. I always hung out with my parents. So. I love them, you know, like they were so, you know, but that's who I was around. So that's what I picked up, right? And my parents just, you know, they, in their eyes, it was like they were looking out for me. So that way, you know, I can get taken care of or whatever. And I think that's what comes out when me as now, like as an individual, like I've always been like independent or whatever, but it's like I have to be, right? Because I don't want to depend on anybody to take care of me. You know, like I've always wanted to be, so I can be myself. So I can be like, well, fuck, if I want to get fat, I'm going to get fat because I want to get fat or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, or, but it's so like stuck in my head.
Ingrained.
Yes, that like I'm always working out. And like sometimes I'm like, I'm fucking tired. I don't want to work out.
Yeah.
But then if I don't, then everything comes down because I use a lot. Maybe if I started walking or if I did something different, you know, but I don't have to do something so hardcore because I felt like I always have to do something hardcore. If it's CrossFit, if it's boxing, if it's like anything like that, it has to be like to the extreme because I have so much built in that I need to get it out.
Wow.
Right? And that shit just like came out live right now because I didn't know I was so right now. But yeah,
shit.
I do that shit.
Yeah, because the kickboxing is hardcore.
Yeah, and like I do it
Every
4 or
day?
5 times a week.
God.
You know? Like, and it's like, but I eat like shit, you know? Like, those are balance, you know? But it's things that's how I get my shit out, you know? Like, ooh.
Damn.
But it's because I feel like nobody's gonna want me, or like I don't think that, and I don't feel that.
It's like
but it's just
head.
something that's still in the back of my head, you know. And it's like, well, I can't, you know, like get big, or I can't like this or that, you know. So it's like I've always been uncomfortable. I've always been like, my body, like I'm thinking of like the way I'm sitting, the way like things are just
too.
like right, like I'm always constantly like.
Adjusting
Putting
my
my
shirt.
stuff down, yeah, and I'm like, why do I snap out of it? I have to snap myself out of it, right? Because I'm like, no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to like, you know. And it's funny because Tara, she pointed out one time where she never diagnosed me or anything like that, right? But she like mentioned something that stuck to me was the body dysmorphia, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that, right? And she was like, girl, read it, right? So I looked into it and I was like, oh fuck, right?
Yeah.
And then like after that, it just stayed in my head, right? And now that I have my daughter, I'm like, there's no way in hell that I want her to feel or experience what I've gone through. So like, I tell her like, hey, the numbers on the back of your pants or your dress or whatever is just a number. It's just so you know where it's at. Nothing's better than nothing. And like, you know, the letters are just telling you because how you know, whatever. Because she'll call me, like she'll FaceTime me when she's like in a dressing room or whatever. And then so I'm like talking to her or whatever, and I'm like, just remember, it's just a number, right? And then sometimes like little girls you hear in the back or whatever, they're like, it's just a number, you know. And I'm like, oh, I love that.
Cute.
It happened once, yeah. I was like, oh. She was like at Windsor or something. But it's just like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I went on a tangent, sorry.
No,
Yeah.
that's what this is for. Yeah, you know what? Also, the way that you talk about yourself will reflect on her. Like, because even with my sister, she made a comment about something, and then my niece, like, regurgitated it, and she was like, oh shit, no, that's not what we're doing here, you know, that's not, you know. And she's like, I have to be careful with what I say because she hears it and then she thinks that, and I don't want to do that to her. And I was like, yeah, like no matter what age, kids are always going to take how you know, talk about yourself or how you that, and they're going to internalize it too, you know. So I always think about that, like, okay, you know, a lot of times, like I had just seen a decal that goes over a mirror, and it said like "Hola hermosa" or "Hola chula," and I was like, I want to buy this. Like, you know, you look in the mirror, and a lot of times for women, we pick oh, I don't like this about myself, whatever. Like, I know I've been thin all my life, but there's still things about myself that I don't like, that I'm like, dude. Like earlier when I was like, I'm wearing a tube top, but there's no tube for this top. Like,
it's such a really cute top though.
Thank you. Thanks. But yeah, it's like you have to be, as an adult, that's something you have to be careful of, is because it's like you're gonna, the same body dysmorphia that you have, you're giving to children.
Real quick, what exactly is body dysmorphia? For the people who don't know out there.
Oh, okay. So it's a disorder that you nitpick at everything until because you have like a specific standard in your brain where this is perfect, and if you can't like be that perfect in your, you know, like whatever you have, like you're thinking, like everything's wrong. Like, so you start trying to fix things. right? So if it's like, oh, I don't like my back fat, right? Or if I don't like this, so I'm going to like focus and like literally like, yes, like stress out because I don't like how my back looks or my legs or whatever, you know, like things that you're thinking about that you shouldn't be thinking about, that you're wasting so much time, so much energy because it's just you. It's just an internal fight. That's it. Nobody else is thinking that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that like until like I realized that, like, fuck, that changed my life. Because it's like, I think it was on it was a show. Have you guys ever seen Schitt's Creek?
No.
Yes.
Oh, it's so funny. I love that show. I love that show. But where the sister tells the brother, like, nobody cares. And then he's like, he's like stressing about what people are going to think and this and this and that, right? And she's like, nobody cares. And like that little quote was like, fuck, like, nobody cares.
Everybody's involved with their own
Everybody's caring
head.
about what's going on with them. Like,
Everybody has
you know,
their own
everybody's just,
insecurities.
yes.
Yeah.
Nobody's better than nobody, you know? Like, and it's just, fix yourself, like, you know, or not fix yourself, but just like, love yourself, right? And then everything else is going to come out better because you don't have that anger. You don't have that, like, you know?
Yeah.
For me, for me, like the whole like health body workout stuff is more of like I've changed it into like a healthy. I want to be healthy. Like I want my numbers my blood pressure, my blood sugar, all to go down because my sister, right? Like she's having her kidney issues, and my dad with his cancer the last 2 years ago. So to me, it woke me up. Like I was like, you know, I gotta work on my health. And if my body starts getting better looking, then cool.
Yeah.
Right? So, to me, I changed the narrative on that. It's not so much like... I think I still do have that a bit. Like, I'm like, okay, I gotta work on this. I gotta work on that. But it's not as bad as it used to be, for sure. I'm like, this is who I am, and this is what I got.
And it's so much better when you are happy with it and when you accept it. And you're just like, fuck, this is me. You know? Like... Fuck everybody else. This is me, you know? It feels so good. I mean, like everything else, we struggle.
Yeah.
But when you get to that point where you can feel like, fuck, I don't care. You know? Like, oh, I love that. It feels good.
I know. I recently have gained weight and it's like in my panza. And so I'm like, I'm not pregnant. I just have a panza now, okay? Because one time my boss was like, I had an appointment and then she was like, are you going for a special appointment? And pointed at my stomach. I was like, no, I'm just fat, Nidra. And then she was like, she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I was like, no, I just have a panza now. And like, because we've been trying, like, you know, we've been on this journey to have a baby. And I was like, great, now I have a panza. I really think I'm pregnant. So I was like, PSA, I just have a panza now. Okay? I'm not pregnant.
You're addressing it now.
I think I told my sister that because I was like, I'm not pregnant. I just have a panza now. Okay? Okay. But yeah, like even getting adjusted to that, you know?
Yeah.
It's weird because like when you're younger, you probably have better like bodies back then, right? And you're so like anxiety and just like, oh, this is terrible. And now you're older, it's probably worse. Where you don't care anymore. Like, why do we have that attitude back then?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, so according to Mayo Clinic, body dysmorphic disorder is a mental health condition in which you can't stop thinking about one or more perceived defects or flaws in your appearance. A flaw that appears minor or can't be seen by others, but you may feel so embarrassed, ashamed, and anxious that you may avoid many social situations. When you have body dysmorphic disorder, you intensely focus on your appearance and body image, repeatedly checking the mirror, grooming or seeking reassurance. Sometimes for many hours each day, you perceive flaw and repetitive behaviors cause you significant distress and impact your ability to function in your daily life. You may seek out numerous cosmetic procedures to try to fix your perceived flaw. Afterward, you may feel temporary satisfaction or reduction in distress, but often the anxiety returns and you may resume searching for other ways to fix your perceived flaw. Treatment of body dysmorphic disorder may include cognitive behavioral therapy and medication. that workbook. That workbook. I'm telling you, like, there's things that it's like you're so hyper focused on things, and it's not even that, but it's just the way that your cognitive, like the way that you're thinking. And it's like, okay, you focus on something, and it's like nobody notices.
So really quick on that, I think you mentioned earlier about like how you were about your teeth or something. Okay, so I had that, right? So like my teeth were super crooked, and I was big gums, everything. Like I this is work.
Yeah.
You guys didn't know that, but I knew that, right? And that's something because it was pointed out to me when I was little multiple times that it just like it fucked me up, right?
Yeah.
So once I like was an adult and I had insurance, I super high focused on getting braces, right? I've had braces 5 times. I'm not fucking lying. 5 motherfucking times. And it's all out of pocket. And it's because like I couldn't keep them on like I needed to because I wanted to hurry up and get them off because I kept thinking about it because I kept seeing them. Like it's just something that like right?
Yeah.
So much money, so much time, so much like, you know, and up until like a few years ago, I had braces again, and it was, or I had the Invisalign for a little bit, and then and then I stopped wearing the retainer, and it was always something, right? Because I was very careless with my stuff. But the last time I had the braces or whatever, and I lost my retainer, it was a little bit. I was talking to my therapist about it, and she's just like, either you go again and do it, or this is it. Like you need to stop yourself because this is a cycle. Obviously, 5 times is a cycle, right? And and until this day, like I see myself like, ooh, maybe I should go, like, ooh, or I'll go online and I'll start doing like the thing where like, you know how they do the bite or whatever, the online one, you pay monthly or whatever. Like I am like literally like clicking on it, putting my information in so they can send me the model, right? And that's when I tell my brain like, stop, what are you doing, right? Because it's so easy, because it's like, oh, $200, sure, why not, right? For the mold, and then it's like after that, and I'm like, what am I doing? What am I proving? What do I need to prove? Like, my teeth are fine.
Your teeth look great. I was literally staring at your teeth this
I
whole
need
time.
braces.
Like, your teeth look great.
But see, like the definition is that nobody sees those, right? And it's like, but I do, you know, and I'm the one that looks at myself in the mirror, and then I'm like, right? And I start like, ew. It's horrible. Yeah. It is so horrible.
That's crazy. I think about it, and I'm like, in pictures when I was little, I didn't smile. Like, even like my quinceañera picture, the guy was like, okay, smile. And I'm like, and he's like, smile with your teeth. And I'm like,
it would piss me off when people would say
and then I did, and I was like, I love this picture of me with my teeth like this. Like, oh. Yeah. And then, like, as an adult, I got braces, and then, like, I had braces for, like, 5 or 6 years. Like, and then when I moved to Vegas, I had to travel back to Brea to go. I would go, like, once a month. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. And then, like, I was like, okay. Yeah. And sometimes, and even now, I'm like, girl, sometimes you don't be smiling with your teeth. Like, you paid enough money for that. You need to be smiling with that whole grill, like your whole mouth. See all them teeth. And I'm like, but the whole retainer thing, like that's something like I started taking a gap, and I was like, oh no, we did not pay all this money just to go back. No. Yeah. But that was one of my like biggest insecurities was my teeth. Yeah. That, and I was also the darkest one out of my siblings too. That was another thing. Like I was born with a tan. So yeah, that's something like as a kid, like I've always been like the darker one, and it's like, okay, you look different than your sister. My sisters are very like light skinned. They tan, but like naturally, I came out like if you look at all 3 of our baby pictures, I'm like dark tan baby, and so I'm like, okay, like, and I would like, you know, like I would not hate that about myself, but it was like, why do I look so dark compared to everybody else and stuff like that? And then to add on to that, like we grow a lot of hair, like a lot. Like I've been shaving my arms since I was like 17 because I'm like, nope, I don't want like. And somebody on the internet was like, I remember one girl, she goes, people shave their arms. I had no idea. I'm like, yes, girl, because my hair grows back dark and I don't want hairy arms. Like that's just something that I've like done since I was a teenager.
Like right now, my arm hair is blowing in the wind.
Turn the fan up. It's not rustling. Know what that rustling is?
But see, yours is fine. You know what I mean? But mine would be like so dark, like dark, because like I do have good eyebrows. Like that's one thing that I'm like, okay, I know people pay for these eyebrows. Okay, mine are good. But that's something that it's like, okay, being dark plus you're the hairy kid. Like, what the heck? You know, like even like the slightest things, like. With like my sideburns and stuff like that, like that's something that I nitpicked at myself for like 2 episodes ago, and I was like, but you know what? I don't care. Like, who cares? Like, it's hair. Yeah. Oh well, you know, like
don't look at it.
I know. Like I used to like wax them, or like not wear my hair in a ponytail, or like not wear my hair, and I'm like, like no, we're good. Like no, girl, you're fine. I know. I swear I'm not breastfeeding, okay? Just love myself.
No,
okay?
Yeah, and that's good.
Yeah.
I've learned that's such a bad thing.
I've
learned.
Like,
oh, then you're stuck up, or you feel, you're too busy. No.
And that's like what even with my clothes, like I've learned to dress for my body, and I've learned to be like, I love to be extra in my clothes because it makes me happy, and I'm like, okay, like whatever, we're gonna wear.
Like if you came with something like really dull, I think we'd be like,
what's going on?
Okay,
what's going on, Candy?
What happened?
Something with no color. I know, no color, no accessories.
We're black.
Okay,
why are we all black?
I'm gonna show up like that. I'm gonna test you guys. But yeah, that's my body issues that I had, like, and still kind of have sometimes. Now I'm like, people pay for this tan, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, people go to get tan. Like, no, we're good.
I have to walk 7 miles to get this color a day. My problem was the opposite, where I was light skinned, and people. When I had hair, I look more white. So people would think I'm white. I'm like, I'm Mexican. Yeah, I'm Mexican. Like, both my parents are Mexican.
Yeah.
So that was my problem. Is it gave me an identity issue.
Yeah.
Where I was like, wait, what am I? And then I lived in Orange County.
Yeah.
Shit. And I even got it from the family. Like, some of our older cousins would call me white boy. Like, oh, you're a white boy. So it totally messed me up. Like what? What do you mean?
Dick.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
And one of them was funny because he was like, he's way older. Well, he's like 15 years older, maybe. And he would call me white boy all the time. And he's like, you live in Orange County, you're a white boy. And then he ended up moving to Buena Park.
That's funny.
And his kids love it there. Like, see, I talk shit to him. Like, remember what he used to say? That I was a white boy because I lived in Buena Park? And I'm like, now what? He's like, I don't even like going back to Compton. Visit my mom.
How funny.
I laugh at it now.
Yeah.
Back when I was a kid, though, it gave me like identity crisis.
Yeah. I felt like that too.
You too?
Going all the way to like.
So like, yeah, I live in Orange County. One time I got in a car accident in Huntington Beach, and there's always stories about Huntington Beach. Actually, like the cops are super racist there, right?
Yeah.
And one day I got in a car accident. It wasn't my fault. It's a girl ran a red light. Got T-boned pretty much. And when the cop was interviewing me, he was like this old white guy. Like I was like, what are you still doing? Fucking in the course, dude. You know, he's leading on Mexicans and black people back in the day because he was just that looking. Like, I'm like, what are you doing here, bro? And when he was interviewing me, like, what happened, like, taking my information, he's like, oh, race? I'm like, oh, like, ethnicity? I was like Hispanic. He's, you're Hispanic? I'm like, yeah. He goes, you don't look like it. Are you sure? I was like, what the fuck? Like, was he trying to, like...
Like, sorry, I left my sombrero.
Yeah. But it was like, to me, it was like, what, you think... To me, it was like, okay, are you saying it's better to be white? That's what, like, I was getting out of it. Yeah. Right? And I was just like, oh, I'm Mexican. It's like, oh, okay. What the fuck was that?
Yeah. Are you sure?
Yeah, are you sure? I was like,
what?
Oh no, never mind.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
never mind. You're right. You're right, guy. I mean, technically, my race is white.
No, it's not.
Ethnicity.
No, it's not.
No?
No.
I thought that was.
I would
thought that was
never.
a thing.
I would never explain that. No.
Like you're. Like,
I'm gonna pick other. I'm never gonna pick white. Never. I'm other.
can you do that?
I'd rather pick indigenous, okay?
We are
Never.
indigenous.
We are.
Yeah.
We're indigenous. That's good.
Yeah,
We're here for.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we are.
I never pick white.
We are.
They're supposedly on the census. Sorry, on the census, they're supposed to change it now, where you can.
No
really
way.
pass. Mhm.
Oh, I won't pick that.
Yeah, I never pick white. Never.
I have to. I don't know what else to do.
I like how she says that. Never.
Never.
Oh.
I'd rather pick black than white. Closer. But yeah. Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Not as much now, I don't think. Even because I shave my head.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably.
And I have to shave it. That's one of my
Yeah.
where it used to be. What is it?
Insecurity.
Insecurity.
Uh-huh.
And I still get asked like, oh, are you losing it or are you? I was like, it's thinning. Like it can grow out, but it'll look funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I just shave it off now. I'm used to this. Like
Yeah.
it's easier. I'm like, I like it now. Like I feel like it's
Yeah.
me now. Like
Yeah.
this is my look.
Uh-huh. You know what's interesting? Yesterday we went to dinner, and it's a spot that we go to like all the time. And it's like by our house. And the waiter came, and he was wearing a beanie, and he just seemed like so down. And we come here, so we know this guy. And he goes, "I know what you're thinking. Why am I wearing a beanie?" And then I was like, nobody was thinking that, like, you know, body dysmorphia.
Mhm.
And then he was like, it's because I'm balding in the middle of my head, and I'm getting used to it. Like, I don't like it. And we were just like, oh my God, like, okay, like, what do we say, you know? Because it's like 100 degrees outside, and he's like in his beanie, and I'm like, I was like, oh, like, what do you
Yeah,
say? Like, and
yeah.
I was like, okay, sorry. Like, I was like, like, for him to, like,
Yeah. Like
You
have
know?
to feel like he has to explain or
yeah, I'm like, no.
No.
But he was so like down, because I even told
Mhm.
Fernando, like, he seemed different. Like, something is wrong with him. Like, before he had told us. I was like, he's not as happy as he usually is. Like, he's so like monotone, and I was like, something's going on with him. And then that's when he was like, I know what you're thinking. And I was like,
Oh.
we're not thinking that.
Mhm.
I was like, oh.
I mean, it is at first. It is kind of like, fuck, I'm getting older. Like because it's not getting older.
Yeah.
Damn. And then at some point you're just like, fuck it, it's gotta go, and then you just get used to it.
Yeah. You know what's interesting?
Probably cheaper.
Very much cheaper.
About getting older, we just went to the optometrist, and she goes, you know, because she was like, I have a astigmatism, and she goes, your astigmatism got better. I was like, how does that happen? And she goes, as you get older, like, sometimes your vision gets better. And I was like, what? I'm not gonna need contacts. Is that what you're telling me?
She's like, whoa.
And I'm like, girl, I just dropped some money on the contacts. Let me know. That's funny. You know, I got the opposite, because obviously I have very indigenous features, and like, I would always be like, okay, well, don't wear your hair with a part in the middle, because then you look like India, you know. And it was like, one time, it was like some like drama or whatever, and the girl called me India Maria, and I was like,
She's fucking hilarious.
I love her. I love India Maria. But even that is
But
like,
that is so like,
it's so like a trope, like,
yeah.
you know, like, of course, a darker skinned person who's indigenous is gonna be like the payaso, you know, the payasa, like, they make fun of her and this and that. That's the only way, you know.
Yeah,
and
she's
even,
accepted.
yeah,
She's
even in like,
entertaining.
yes, even in like a lot of like Latino media and stuff like that, it's all like white centric, European, like
The novellas.
people. Yeah, novelas. The brown people are the ones that are the maids and this
Yeah.
and that, you know. And it's like, dang, like, no wonder, like, our parents' generation, it was like the closer to whiteness, you know, like the better.
Oh, you know what? I always
Yeah.
got. You know what? Oh, I was kind of. I'm sorry.
No, you're
Like
fine.
when there were certain cousins that had colored eyes,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Oh, you have colored eyes." I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, so
Better.
what about our fucking eyes?
You're like, look at my eyes.
Yeah, and it's like, I feel like to them it's like white centric
Yeah,
features.
you're-
It's like,
you're
you're better,
centric.
you're prettier, you're
Yeah.
this, and I'm like, okay, like,
Yeah, that's
and,
true.
and it's like, okay, yeah, like, but even like with one of my nieces, she's darker. And she's like, ooh, I'm tan, like, you know, like me. And I was like, yes, girl, you're tan like me. Come on. Yes. So I'm like, yeah, I love it. Because I'm like, I wish someone would have been like, girl, we're tan. Like, look at us. Okay? Girl, people pay for this. Okay? But yeah, that's something that I think about. Like, okay, you know, the younger generation is looking and it's like they listen and they pick up on things. So, you know, I'm not trying to give them a complex.
Like, we were so not learned to love who we were.
No.
At all.
Because it's not about us. It's not, it's, you know?
No. It's back again to the reputation. Like the whole mejorando la raza, like marrying somebody who's not, you know, somebody who's white or somebody because it's better,
That's
you know?
crazy.
And it's like, because then I've seen in like books and stuff where they're like, people will say like, then you'll have white babies, and then it's like, you know, but like even back in the day they had like a caste system where it was like they categorized people by indigenous, by color, by this and that, and the closer to whiteness you were, the better you were in society, or the higher valued you were in society.
Like it's crazy, like when the Spanish came, like, right, they were colonizing Mexico, like the beard was a sign of being more European.
Oh wow!
Yeah, for men. So
that's interesting.
That's why they would grow their beards.
Yeah.
Because it's like indigenous people can't grow facial hair as much.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed.
I never noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
Europeans can.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I think it has to do like the environment, maybe, because it's colder, like in Europe, so you need more hair. Yeah.
There's this one podcast that I just ran into. It's called I have to find it. It's like an imposter, but Indian, like imposter. So these like two natives are talking about, I think one might be in Canada and the other one is here. I'm not sure. But they talk about like how people say they're indigenous.
Indigenous.
Indigenous. Indigenous.
There you go. She did it.
Oh my god, the commercial.
Oh, Butcher won earlier.
What was the other one that we couldn't get? Deficit.
Deficit.
Yeah. No, but it's about how, you know, like even like white people are still trying to like, you know, get in and try to like take land, and so like to this day, and they say they claim that they are, and then it's like there's people out there that are selling cards, you know, they have like their cards that makes them, you know, like not certified, I don't remember the thing, but it makes them official maybe. But people are selling those, like it's so crazy. Yeah. Wow. I forget the name of it, but it's really interesting.
Damn colonizers.
Yeah. I know that was so off topic, but we were just like,
it's like it's
it's so that's crazy.
Wow. That's interesting.
I think colonizers is a really good insult right now.
It's the truth.
Truth's coming out.
Yeah. That's the greatest insult. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to put that in my pocket for later on tonight, just in case colonizers start to get crazy.
Back to body shaming.
Yeah.
Earlier I had said like I feel like in the Latino community a lot of times our first bullies are like our parents.
Oh,
Parents.
for
100%.
sure.
They're the ones that are like nitpicking that stuff, and it's like, dang, like where's your safe space in that, you know?
The bullies at school.
Yeah, you can take them.
Hey, what? You know, my mom called me, man. You know, mom did this morning to me. Shit. You gonna do it?
Oh my god, you can't get me. Oh my god.
Mom burned me really good this morning. Yeah. No, not me. Like you say,
like what you did?
He's better at it now.
That's good. Yeah, I think that's one thing that our parents are learning and stuff like that. Like even I was having a conversation with one of my tias, and she said something, and then I was like, maybe you should say it this way instead, because that doesn't come off good, and that's gonna hurt somebody's feelings, you know. And then she was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try that. Yeah, and it's
She tells my mom. She told me the story. My mom told me the story. I think she said something the other day that either your mom said something or one of you guys said something when she was going to say something. She's like, maybe you don't have to say everything in your head.
That was me. I was like,
I tell her that too.
I was like, maybe if you said it different, it would come out.
Yeah.
Be perceived, received different.
Yeah.
And I was like, because it is. It's one, in the way that you see things, and two, in the delivery of it, like if you're attacking somebody, they're gonna be like, well, fuck you, I don't want to hear anything you have to say.
You block them out and you don't want to. Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
that was my mom.
It was. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And that's what I try to do. Like, hey, maybe you guys should do this instead,
Yeah.
Like, just because they're always open to learning, I feel like, now.
Yeah.
Like
before
before it was, well, don't talk back, like, can't say nothing. Now I think, like, they're more, like, they don't want to push us away, so they're just like, okay,
Yeah. And I feel like for me, I have to reassure my mom, like, hey, I'm not talking about you. It's not like I'm like, I get it. I understand you didn't know at the time. Like nobody teaches us how to be parents. You just learn on. It's like, what is a job training? Yeah. So it's just like that. You know, like, so like it doesn't matter what someone knows or someone is telling you, like, until you experience it yourself, like, you can call the aunt, you can call whoever, but you have to experience it. Right. I don't know. So when I was telling my mom, I was like, more like, hey, we've talked about this already, like, remember, like, I'm not faulting you at all. Like, I get you, I understand, but I need to say it in order for me to understand it. And sometimes I have to say, well, this is the way I was taught. This is the way, that's why I do these things, because this is the way, or I wasn't taught or whatever, and it's like, I get it. I totally get it. But, but it's one of those things that.
Almost like racism. It was okay, kind of, in the old days. And it's like, it still wasn't okay.
Yeah.
But like, you gotta like definitely get it out of
Learn.
You have to like correct them constantly, like little kids.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't like they had hate or anything like that. It was just like the things they would say, like the words they would say that they was like, no, you can't say that. Like that's wrong, or whatever, and I don't know.
One thing, like, you said something about, like, parenting, like, you're learning on the fly. One thing I realized the last couple of years is I swear no one has anything together. Everybody's, like, on the fly. Like,
yeah.
And I think even you realize that, like, your world's, like, hey, okay, this is where I'm at, and it's okay to be where I'm at. Like, if not 100%, like, where I want to be. Because I swear everybody's just, everybody has a mess. See, whether one way or another.
That's the difference, is like you're able to ground yourself and be like, fuck, like everybody is fucked up, like let me see what I can do, or what, you know how to like stop yourself from destruction. Like, because it's
comparison,
so easy to be like,
a mother,
like, you can't.
What is it, the comparison is a killer of joy or something like that? Something like that.
Like, we're not in competition. It's like, and that's something that, like, I want to like stress out to everybody, like, we're not better than anybody, and I just want to keep telling, like, we're talking about this, so you guys can talk too, like, because it feels good, there's a good release, and if it's not, we're not gatekeepers, we want to get the word out, we want to show you guys it from experience, like, life sucks right now, like, it's hard, but it doesn't have to be that hard.
I think us doing this it definitely helps us a lot. Like, we work through things and we have like our freaking eureka moments or whatever, and it's like, okay, if we're having this, then hopefully we're doing the same for other people, when they're like listening to us and knowing that, guess what, the way you're feeling, we feel the same way. We're on our healing journeys now, we're all in different stages. These people are open to talking about it now, and it's not like I'm going to therapy in private or in secret or whatever, like, no, my therapist is my homegirl, like,
I miss mine.
Yeah.
Hi, Todd. You're watching.
You're like, I'm getting by.
How funny. Yeah. I think we're doing good for ourselves. Like, considering how our issues as kids, like, I think we're working through them and, we're getting adjusted to adult bodies and,
Yeah.
and fantastic.
Like,
oh my God.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I expensive as grill over
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. All right.
I think we're
Think
good.
we're good? Yeah.
That was a
We're
fun
good.
one.
Yeah.
That went by fast. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All
right.
Oh, and the next episode, following this one, we're going to have a special guest.
Our next guest
Is Dr. Christy Cannell. She's a professor at Kelsick Fullerton. She's a friend of our aunt, Timberly. So they're going to come down to Vegas just to be on the show. So
that's
exciting.
Cool.
Yeah, how exciting.
she specializes with veterans and the Latin community.
Ooh.
So I'm like,
Wow.
perfect.
Perfect
We're
for us.
Veterans,
Yeah.
Latin
Yeah.
community.
We should get a couch.
Each get a turn on the couch.
All right. I'm like, all right, I'm next.
Yeah.
Get out of there. I'm next.
Yeah. Time's up.
Yeah. Hurry up.
She's watched some episodes and she likes what we're doing.
Oh,
and-
cool.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so-
That's nice.
I read I'm reading her book. I'm like first 2 chapters is about crisis interventions, just like crisis. And the first chapter was,
Do you know the name of it?
I have it downstairs.
Oh, okay.
I'll put it on the website.
Yeah,
I'll
we'll put it on
I'll
our Instagram.
And it talks about like crisis and how if something happens to you and how you react is if you don't have like a good coping mechanism, then it goes to shit pretty much, right? If you don't get help. And I'm like, oh my God, that's what happened to us as kids. Like,
Yeah.
and you don't fix that big one, then the little ones turn into crisis too. And I'm like, oh my God, like, oh shit.
It's like a foundation. Like you have to have a foundation, like something secure so you can build, And if you don't have that, then, and it starts when we're children. And if that's fucked up, then there's nothing to hold,
Yeah, I was reading.
I want to know. Yeah.
It's really good. I'm like, I was just like when we have moments here, I was like that. I was like, oh my God, like.
I love that. I love when you're reading something and it like hits.
Like, boom, it
I'm
hits
like,
you.
highlight, bookmark, all of that shit.
And it says like, if you keep, and then like more crises happen, it just gets worse. Like it doesn't get better unless like you get help and. Even like medication is mentioned. Like sometimes if it's that bad, you need medication right away. But the more years you keep it, the worse it can get.
Yeah, almost like your body's in fight or flight.
Yes. Like oh my God. And I'm like oh my God, that happened. That happened to us as kids, and for me, or for us too as veterans. They went to deployed. I'm like oh my God, are we alive still? It said some of like the things that could lead to is like homicide, suicide, which will be a topic later on.
Yeah.
Like, I've tried a couple times.
Yeah, me too.
And then, and then like behavioral like psychosis. So I'm like, oh my God, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to her about that too. Like, it's gonna be a good episode with her for sure.
If you have any questions that you want to ask, we'll put a questions box and you guys can send them in. Or you can DM us on Instagram.
Or put my phone number. You can text.
Oh yeah.
Because Crystal, our cousin, asked.
Oh, to call in.
So I put my phone number
call
on.
in.
Oh, yeah.
We could do like a Google number.
Oh, we can do that? Oh, okay. We'll change
ask
that.
our IT guy.
Yeah. I don't want you guys texting me.
I know. One thing I wanted to say was to make sure you guys do something for self-care. I know we mentioned it today, but make sure you do something, even if that's freaking getting yourself a treat and sitting in the car and eating it by yourself because you don't want to share with your children.
Or the closet. Shout out, Melissa.
The pantry. Yeah.
Oh, it was pantry. It was the pantry. Yeah.
Make sure you do something for yourself because that's important. Like, buy yourself a treat or go for a walk or
Be nice to yourself.
yeah, be nice to yourself.
Be nice to
Definitely.
yourself.
That's important. Like I said earlier, like you can't fill out of an empty cup, do something for yourself. You're important. You're, if you're the mom or the, the whatever, you can't pour, you're no good to everybody if you don't take care of yourself. So just make sure you do something for yourself. All right. Thank you for joining us. If you need any medical assistance, please contact your local provider. If you are having thoughts of suicide, please call the National Suicide Hotline at 988. In case of emergency, call 911. See you next week as we talk about
the things we're not supposed to talk about.
Bye. Subscribe, please.
Yeah.